What is going on, Donut Friend Me Nation? Welcome to the Donut Friend Me Show. Good to have everybody here. Hope we are doing well. Amy and I are in the house tonight. Good to have you here. We're talking about
good to be here.
Yeah, Jewish space lasers.
They're at it again, those crazy Jews.
Those crazy Jews are at it again, launching their Zionist lasers. I just thought lasers were in Griffith Observatory in LA. I didn't know that they were launching them from space to start fires to cover up the tunnels of the child sex trafficking.
Oh,
because
I heard that too.
Right, collapsing the tunnels would just be too easy. Let's go ahead and set a fire and destroy all the evidence because Kash Patel is going to be the FBI director. So let's burn it down, all of it, and nobody will know that we traffic children. This makes complete sense. How did we miss it?
It's unlikely that this is the end of the tunnel burning as well. I think there's going to be more. So.
Yeah, well, we can expect more from the Jews. They never stop. So we'll talk about that shit tonight. We're going to talk about some Democrat policy and some meltdowns that are taking place. What's new? I've got some fun videos. Some videos that from the fire that there's not a lot of happiness, but there's some happy moments. Got my workout in, feeling good. Doing my 2-a-days. Got my 30-minute run in the AM and hour workout at night. Feeling great. Amy, did you do anything productive today?
I did. I worked a little bit, although the kids are still out of school, so it was a lot of sledding again today. And
shit. Hold on.
It's okay.
That wasn't on purpose.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, it was. It's okay.
Not this time. Not this time. So kids went sledding, and what else?
Yeah, so we actually just walked back in the door. We went sledding out. Oh, wait, we have a great hill at our house, so we were here most of the day, but then also went to another amazing hill. So we just got home from that. So
that is awesome. Ethan built an igloo, so
that's awesome.
The snow was perfect for it.
Yeah,
it was perfect for an igloo. It's because it was dry, and there was a lot of it, and it was abundant. So they had a good time.
You didn't hear the snow conspiracies?
Oh, well, of course we did. So I made sure my children played in it. Hopefully I got lucky. We'll be back. 3 minutes. Folks, if you haven't had a chance, especially on Twitter, please do me a favor and share this out. If everyone could take a second and just share it out to Rumble, to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you got it. We want to bring as many people as we can. Wednesday nights are always one of our most popular, so let's get the house packed. No, that's not my eye. I don't know why people think that's my eye.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop arguing me. 'Cause I'm everything you want. Damn, show what you need. I won't tell no lies. Back up on the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's dog.
Step into a Wimkin, you must.
Howdy, y'all. This is Damani Felder. These are perilous times in American history, and now more than ever, we need individuals who are willing to wage war on the ideological battlefield with like-minded individuals. And I can think of no better place to start than my friends at the Don't Unfriend Me show. So thank you for being here, and enjoy the show.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
I'm excited. Gavin, listen, they've been struggling with these fires, not knowing what to do. And Gavin Newsom has a bold and very smart plan. I didn't think of it. I should have. But you remember COVID, right? They're supposed to. Yes, you're blurry. You're blurry.
I know. I do look blurry, right?
You look blurry. Yeah, you look blurry. I mean, you look good, but you look blurry. Good, but blurry.
That worse?
That is about as bad as it gets.
Okay. I can't tell now. So.
That's better. That looks wonderful. You look great.
I heard
Gavin
about his
Newsom-
plan a few years ago.
Right. Well, you know what he said is wear masks to stop the spread, right? 14 days flatten the curve, but it wound up turning into like 18 months to flatten the curve. But I think it's the night of 2.0s, right? It's Trump 2.0. It's Lahaina Jewish space lasers 2.0. And it should be COVID/Newscum 2.0. And here's what he's decided is trees need to wear masks just to stop the spread of wildfire. Pretty simple. All we need to do is go ahead and put these giant-sized masks all over the forests of California, and we should be able to get this thing slowed down because it is out of control. Gavin Newsom, interesting fellow. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about California. We're going to talk about the wildfires. I know Amy wants to talk about the wildfires. We also are going to talk about what, Amy? You sent us some other stuff that we may be talking about. Was it?
I just said, I think I said like Gitmo ? Like I didn't know what to like throw out there today because there's so much news to like we're inundated the last couple weeks. So
Yeah.
it's hard to decide what's important and what people want to hear about. There's everything.
It's true. It's absolutely true. There's a ton going on right now, and it's definitely all newsworthy, but we're selective on what we do cover. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Thanks for getting out here. Our show's been hitting its stride. The women seem to be cussing more than I am. I've been really good. Like for the last 3 months, I've pretty much stopped cussing. Mine has some like really frustrating moments with stupid news, but Amy and Olivia are just every other word, it seems. They're just potty mouths. It's horrible.
Well.
Did you have anything to say for yourself, Amy, or,
I just, golly, yeah. Mother effing. Oh, sorry.
It's good.
Yep.
It's good. It's kind of par for the course. What do you want to talk about first? Because we got so much. I mean, we got. Well, first of all, let's do this. If you have not had a chance, you can go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. We've got the total for what we're trying. I put out a test today about Facebook because Mark Zuckerberg said that he was no longer censoring, and we're hoping to get. Well, that post that I made actually did fairly well and got a lot of eyes on it, which I was surprised, and it got like 10,000 views. And if you can do about 10% of your overall followers and interact with them, that's really good. This one reached about 58, 59% new followers and about 40% of my current followers. So that was the best numbers I've seen. So I'm hopeful that we could, maybe have Facebook start monetizing us again and making that climb, which would change our lives and change everybody's lives for the better. So for now, though, this is where we're at. Here is our goal. We have that up. We have a show goal of $275. Not too bad considering broadband, lights, power, everything else, and then Amy and I's time, which is just invaluable. We ask on you to support the show. We ask at the beginning of the show, and then we ask at 8:30 if we haven't hit our goal yet, and then we don't bring it up. We let you go ahead and do that, and you decide. We don't believe in giving till it hurts, so if you're in a position, please don't give if it's going to impact you. But if you do have a little bit extra, and you're like, you know what, I stopped drinking all those coffees for New Year's Eve and those 1,000-calorie drinks, I think I'm going to help the Donut Friendly Show. You can do that by going to thedumbshow.com/donate. Thank you so much. All right. So Ames, fire in California.
Yeah, I just talking about Facebook really quick though. I will say this, and maybe you guys mentioned this the other day. I don't know. I'm so excited that Dana White is going to be a part of the Meta family. Metaverse, is that a thing? That sounds like a Spider-Man reference. But
we're just gonna call it Facebook. You know.
Yeah. So anyway, just want to throw that out there. Very excited for that.
I think it's great. I think what happens is that when you hang out with men who are estrogen based and soy boy, Birkenstock wearing, granola eater, vegan, non-binary, rainbow spotted unicorns, you're going to kind of be a giant vagina. But when you start hanging out with testosterone laden, caveman / military / Mortal Kombat, beer drinking, roughneck, putting women in their place. No, I don't know about that, but you're going to get to have it rub off on you. So he's been lifting weights. He's been doing mixed martial arts, and he's got the fro now. He looks like Gene Wilder, and he's wearing the gold chain outside of his sweater. I mean, Zuck is embracing his inner Zuck, and he really doesn't care what he looks like, which is great because when he tried, he looked like an alien Dutch boy painter, like evil. So
yeah,
just saying.
But yeah, I'm excited for that. But Gavin Newsom.
Damage.
Sorry, go ahead.
Gosh, my kids say that all the time. It's so.
I know. So does mine. They put it on here, but I just think that Zuck is doing whatever he can to save his company, knowing that Section 230 or whatever I don't remember the law, but ultimately publisher content versus production are two different things. And he openly admitted censorship. I mean, he kind of opened himself up for some lawsuits, so he better follow through, because if he doesn't, you're going to put him on the stand and say, listen, I was making this much for the last 18 months. Here's my average. I mean, he owes me, based upon what they did to me, he owes me like $275,000. That's no joke.
Yeah.
Because I get that. 50 goes to you, 50 goes to Leroy. We open up a production studio and we start getting some advo. Because that's exactly what our intentions were right before they cut our legs out from underneath us. You even remember, I was like, guys, we had a great month. If we see this one more time, we're opening up the books and we're going to start giving you guys a cut of this. And at $15,000 a month, that might have only been like $1,250 a month, but who gives a shit? I mean, then you get to 25, then you get to 40 and 50. Then you start saying, okay, well now this pays me $10,000 to $15,000 a month, and now maybe I don't want to do what I'm doing. Maybe I want to retire and start doing this, and then the cut gets bigger. So we were close, and to see Facebook do this to us is just horrible. So we're hoping that they give us back. And here's the thing, the viewers have been incredible. You guys have kept us alive for a year. Without you, we wouldn't be here, because it was just such a shock. We almost closed the door. So those donations, even though you're like, well, it's only $10 or $15 or $100 or whatever, it makes a difference. It keeps the lights on, and we appreciate and love you. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm excited, I guess. So we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Really am. I'm also excited to see if this is going to be the demise of Gavin Newsom, since.
Yeah. Do you think finally? I mean, if his gay lover Trudeau is getting, he's retiring. So what's going to happen? I mean, do you think Trudeau comes to California and runs for governor? I mean, is any crazier things have happened?
Oh gosh, I mean, they did have Arnold, so I could see that happening.
Get down.
Yeah.
Get to the chopper. Yeah.
I could see it happening.
I could see it happen. I mean, seriously. I've seen weirder shit, especially in the last few. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with hockey. And this isn't a big dive into hockey, but this is, listen, we live close to Philadelphia, relatively.
Yes, we do.
I mean, Baltimore's
it's like 2 hours away.
Yeah, Baltimore's closer, DC's closer, but Philadelphia is right there. Maybe 3. maybe 3 hours.
It's probably 3. You're right.
Yeah, it's maybe 3.5, almost 4. But it doesn't matter. If you drive like I do, probably 3.5. But it doesn't matter. Philadelphia is right there. It's 4. And with potty breaks, it's 4. But that's okay. I wanted to. Nope. Nope. Who was it? Bobby did that? Yes.
Thank you, Bobby.
Bobby at $51.99. Thank you, love. You're the best. I'm sorry it didn't splash on the screen. That's my fault. I'm a failure because I don't have my wife here.
3 hours and 13 minutes from where I live.
But we forgot potty breaks. And with me,
we're not allowed to use the bathroom. No.
I'm 30 minutes away from you to the south, so that's why. It's 4. But with potty breaks, it's like you got to go piss once because I have a wife. No. So it's going to be 4.
Oh, tell her to ride with Jason. He doesn't allow it.
I don't allow it either, but that's
like, nope.
changed. That changed once I. Okay, so I have been in most hockey arenas, pretty much most in the United States minus Canada. I've never been to a Canadian hockey game. I've always wanted to go because it's intense. Because when you haven't won anything for 31 years, they're angry. But I will tell you, the 2 worst places ever to go to a hockey game. But one's iconic, which was the Joe Louis Arena for Detroit Red Wings, which I went to, which was put on my jacket, wear my Avs jersey, shut up, sit down, drink my beer, don't cheer, and get out of there. Because this was during the Red Wing Avalanche rivalry. I mean, it got violent. And I'm not kidding. They had police escorts. They had murder and death threats. I mean, for fans and players. If you didn't live through the Detroit Red Wings Colorado Avalanche rivalry, it was one of the best in sports, hands down. It was definitely one of the most violent and translated to the fans. But the second place that is Philadelphia. And watching the Philadelphia Flyers. And I know you're a Caps fan. I know you've been to some sports games. So I'm going to show you this video. And there is first of all, it's a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. And just because you're a Toronto fan, you kind of deserve this, right? Your team hasn't done anything while you've been alive, and they're not going to. So you're kind of asking for it just because you're a Toronto fan. But then when you go into Philly and your team wins, and you decide to stand up against the glass and put your hands up and wave them around like you just don't care and celebrate, and you're in Philly, you done fucked up, Ron. You should have known better.
Yes. Philly, I don't care what sport it is, though. It's all the sports. It's football, basketball. Yep. Philly is like, they are diehard, and they will cut you, and they won't even think twice about it. And they don't care who you are, what you look like.
They're bad. They're bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad. So my recommendation is let's watch the video and then you tell me. Now, first of all, this is excessive. I don't agree with this. I would never hit a fan inside the stadium. Parking lot, different conversation. Completely. I'm not going to say I've never gotten into a tussle inside of a parking lot before because that's not true. But this is assault and you're going to jail, right? But there is a code of conduct at hockey games. And you better learn if you're going to come to Philadelphia, Chicago, the Forum, and you're going to start rubbing people's noses in it, bad things can happen. Here's the video. First off, you are waving and celebrating and mocking the Philly fans after, you can see the bench are clearing. Thank you, Amy Bordeaux.
Thank you, Amy.
Philly is exiting, and then over here is the exit for the Toronto Maple Leafs visitor room. Most have over here on the other end of the rink, 200 feet this way and 200 feet this way, exits. This is an older stadium. It doesn't have it, but watch what happens. So this guy goes in here and starts pointing his fingers like, hey guys, hey, are you Toronto fans? And they're like, yeah, we are. And then he, boom. Now, here's the thing you need to understand, is that this guy right here behind this guy, this is an employee. And this is security for the arena. And he is there to ensure that during commercial breaks, everybody sits down. And or during gameplay, nobody gets up and goes and gets snacks, because that, unlike baseball and football, you can't get back in or get up and leave while play is happening. Hockey doesn't allow that shit. So you got to sit down. So when there's a whistle, you can get up and move. Otherwise, you got to stop. So he's there to stop that. And the second thing he's there is obviously to provide security. And what does he do? Nope, I'm out of here. He just takes off. He's like, they're Toronto fans. I'm leaving. Then the security guy goes to the Philly fan and goes, you better get out of here. And he starts making his way up over the seats. And everybody in the stands is like, this is a typical Philly game. And I will tell you, this is a typical Philly game. If you decide to start talking shit and start doing it, you're going to get beer poured on you and you're going to get slapped around. You can stand up when your team scores and go, all right, let's go, boys. But if you start, Philly sucks, and you start talking trash, what do you think, Amy? What do you think?
So the only sports games I've ever, that sounds so white girl. The only sports games I've ever attended in Philly have been 76ers games. And I've been to a lot of those. And I was there rooting for the 76ers. So Baltimore didn't have a basketball team at the time.
That's
so
okay.
Maybe they did. I don't know. Anyway, so it was always like a promotional trip I got to go on. So fun time, but the fans were no joke. And we were there rooting for that, but we were still terrified. And we were like, just keep your head down. You just do what you're supposed to do. And then you get on the bus and you go home. When I would go to football games here, and it was like against the Eagles, their fans are nuts. They're
completely.
freaking nuts.
100%
They will start
nuts.
fights in our stadiums. They'll like literally start a fight with you for anything. I'm afraid of those fans. Like, I'm afraid of the Eagles people. Like, if you're wearing an Eagles starter jacket back in the day, I was like, stay away from those people. They are going to cut you. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm sure they're lovely people. There's
No, they're
wonderful
not.
people.
No, they're not. They're
But
shitty fans.
They're
horrible
crazy.
fans.
They're crazy.
nuts.
They're just diehard. They're very diehard. They will cut a bitch for nothing.
So here's my, like, Yankees fans are the worst. I'm sorry. They're the worst. They told Jose Altuve that he was so short that they hope he drowned during Hurricane Harvey. They dumped beer on the head coach's wife in the player's box, or in the wives' box. Yankee fans are the worst. They're just trash. Okay? And I don't care what anyone says. Oh, I'm a Yankees fan. Don't talk to me like that. You're trash. If you sit in those stands, don't lump us in with all fans. No. Why don't you guys regulate? Because in Houston, I will tell you what, if any of the Houston people do that, they regulate those people. They will handle them and kick them out. Says we have it all the time. So I think, hey, will somebody, hold on. Kat is trying to break down the door thinking Olivia's in here.
I could hear her.
Thank you. Fucking Kat. All right. So Yankees fans, trash. Football, Raiders fans, hands down, trash. And
Yeah,
Philly
they're pretty
fans, trash. They kill people in Los Angeles. I'm not kidding you. Go look it up. They have killed opposing team people. It's insane. Okay. Hockey, gotta say, Chicago, United Center, Philly, trash. 100% trash. And I have been to most for hockey, and I will tell you that without a doubt. And basketball, it depends. It really depends. If it's a rivalry team, then you're in trouble. That's anywhere. But most basketball is pretty chill. And for some reason, it's pretty chill. But you can't go and beat the hell out of a guy or girl or whatever. So here's the thing. Is society just completely losing its mind?
Yes.
Because I remember but it wasn't like that. It was like if you were belligerent and you were spilling beer on fans and you were talking mad shit and you were just being an asshole, you might get an elbow to the head. I'm not going to say I didn't throw an elbow at a Red Wings player who was just being belligerent and walk by and just, I'm not going to say I hadn't done that, but I'm not going to cold cock somebody. What is it going to take to get people to calm down a little bit? And are we so angry at just one group of people that we don't attack them, so we attack ourselves and the people around us? Because it shouldn't be like this, should it?
Oh, I'm gonna just go back to who I always blame. I blame the media. I think we are living in a time where everyone, you are told to ramp up, get angry, be upset, fight to the death. We can't stand for this anymore. So I think we all are living in a constant like fight or flight state of mind with all the crap happening in our world, especially right now. I mean, we can't even wake up one day without like breaking news. This all happened. Yes, and it all happened in the last 15 minutes. It's really getting out of control. The world we live in is just going to crap. Or maybe it's always been this way and we just have access to hear about it sooner and more frequently. But I think we're all living in flight or fight. And I think people are absolutely fighting way more now. And everyone is triggered. No one has any grace, I think, for other people.
Ethan wanted to contribute.
Hey, buddy.
Because did you wear any chapstick outside? Because you literally look like you just got into a fight with a clown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your
You look
cheeks
like
are
me
red.
2 days ago. Yeah, I'm still recovering.
Go ahead and tell people. And by the way, Cowboy fans, they are ultra uber arrogant, but not as bad as Raiders fans. And I understand what people are saying. I've never been to Canada. I just said that. People are like, in Toronto, you can get away with that. There's no doubt. Canada is different rules. But you don't go and do that in a home barn and do that type of thing. Here, go ahead. Get up to it.
Yeah, basically, I have been watching sports a long time, just like my dad, and the fans get ridiculous. Like football, Philadelphia fans, if you're not wearing a correct jersey, they will fight you. Like, they are crazy, honestly. And as a kid who likes the Denver Broncos and has a sister who likes the Kansas City Chiefs, it gets bad on game day. But the fans insane, and I saw like what happened with like the Toronto Maple Leafs fan and the Flyers fan. What really happened? Because
But I'll show you.
Wait, I have a question about your sports events in your household. Are we having like boxing matches between your kids?
He's gonna tell you. Let me show him this. So Toronto had just left the ice. Toronto had just left the ice, and they started waving and talking stuff to the Phillies fans. All right, reactions.
First off, if
Speak
you're
up.
basically first off, you're going to get punched in the face if you're talking trash. Then like, oh, your team sucks. Like, oh, we're beating you. Like, if you're talking trash like that, you're going to be slapped, hit, or sometimes honestly be hit in a fight. But the other thing is, yes, I see you doing that, but don't do it in Philadelphia. Philadelphia Flyers, Philadelphia Eagles, any like Philadelphia teams, do not talk crap about them because you will end up in the hospital.
Heard it here first.
Heard it here first. She has a question for you, though. What's it like in our house with you and Hayden when it comes to the games?
Basically, she likes to pull the good old-fashioned move. Oh, are you about to three-peat? How many times have you been to the playoffs? Oh, do you have an all-time Hall of Famer? And then I try to go to stats on
John Elway and
how the
Peyton Manning.
Broncos have had so many more Hall of Famers, have beaten the Chiefs so many more times than the Chiefs have beaten the Broncos. And then when she's done, And then when I'm done with that, she's like, but I'm talking about Pleasant. No, if you want to get into an argument with Spuffs, you got to go the full length. Yeah. And also, the Chiefs have been playing longer in the NFL than the Broncos. And we all better.
It just makes common sense.
Also, Chiefs are not three-peating.
It just makes common
I love
sense.
him.
Get out of here. We love you.
He's the best. I just love him.
No, it's
He's
not.
amazing.
It's a fact.
Oh, chum of a bitch.
Okay, if you're arguing about sports, you're arguing about one time period. You are not arguing 20 years beforehand. I know your team was good 20 years beforehand, but your team sucks now, and guess whose team is gonna three-peat? Ours. So leave me alone.
You were a Patriots fan 3 years ago.
I was not.
You were too, liar, because of a boy. I remember.
Oh,
Just saying. My children.
that's awesome.
Anyway, it was not planned. They are out. She plays piano right here, and he just got home from being outside. They hear the show, and they also watch it. So they watch it on the phone because mom's out there watching it. So she does the tips and the donations. So it comes down to this. You should know better in somebody else's barn. Don't ask for trouble. Nobody likes it when you're at home watching a game in your stadium and a bunch of rival fans come in and start trying. What makes you think they're going to like it? Tempers get hot. Toronto sucks. So does Philly. They have a lot of anger. Trotz is doing his best to get Philly to actually maintain, but they've got bad contracts and they've made some poor drafting decisions. Toronto spent their entire payroll on their top line, and they just don't have the goaltending, and they haven't gotten past the second round. They haven't gotten past second base since their mom did. So let's just stop hurting each other, okay? Jeez. Okay.
Or
Are we
just
are we
don't
good?
fight a Philly fan. Yeah.
Fight Philly fans. Just fight Philly fans. Like, I bet if you're talking trash in the parking lot, that's totally okay. I'm just like, not at Raiders. Don't do it at the Raiders. But there's a difference in stadium and out of stadium. When you're in somebody's barn, you've got to be careful. Deborah.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you.
Deborah.
It's just different in the barn. Just do it outside the barn. That's it. Do it in the parking lot and be like, oh man, we got you. Yeah. And everyone does that and it's over. But right when the game's over and it was a contentious game, you're asking for it. All right. The Toronto Maple Leafs are not winning the Stanley Cup. God, please. Okay. Are you guys bringing Potvin out of retirement or something so you guys have a goaltender? Come on, you're not going to win. Edmonton, honestly, the Avs are terrifying right now. If you haven't been watching the last 10 games, they are, now that they've got their goaltending, you guys should be worried. They're allowing 1.92 goals a game, and they're only putting up 3. And they have when they get the full healthy, they're going to be putting up 4.5, 5 goals a game. And it just, that's why they were so dominant in 2021. All right, moving on. Here are some feel good. Now, the fire we've been talking about, we're going to spend quite a long segment on this. So let's do this. I want to show you a video. Like, okay, I asked the kids this question. Amy, your house is on fire. Like, the mountain catches on fire for both of us, and it's coming, and it's going to take out our houses. What's the thing you're grabbing? Besides your kid, your phone, your husband, maybe, depending if you want to pull a Farrah Fawcett in the movie Burning Bed. But what are you grabbing?
I have a folder that I keep, or like a book that I keep of like emergency stuff, like extra birth certificates, like just the stuff that you need. I have to take that, obviously. So it sits in my office.
Okay.
Are you talking about like
What are
a
you grabbing?
photo or something? Nothing.
Listen.
I'm getting nothing. I don't care about anything enough to. I mean, I'll take our pet if we can. That would be weird and hard to do, but I would try to save him. Obviously, my kids. I really don't care about anything else. I truly do not care. I have all my photos digital. There's nothing that I can't replace except for my children. So, yeah, just the one box of or one folder book thing of what to happen or what if I die, how to live, basically.
Yeah.
So-
No. I've got a fire safe, small
Yeah.
one, and I've got my gun safe. I might be able to get that. I'll probably grab my dad's M1, and I'll grab the Lyman painting, which is like I inherited from my parents, which is worth a considerable amount. And That's really it. But that's right by the door. But I'm not going to grab much. What I told him is pop the solid state drive out of my computer because that's got everything on there. So, because the don't unfriend me files, I mean, all the camera equipment, all that, this is all insured. And when we built this room, we had to insure the hell out of it because this is the most expensive room in the house. Surprisingly, well, the theater is the most expensive, but this is second. So, yeah, I mean, there's just nothing to grab. But what a lot of people, there was just a 7.0 earthquake in Northern California.
Yeah,
dude, like that is. Do you guys understand how many people are dead?
Read your Bibles, people.
Wait a second. Do you know what a 7.0 is?
Yes.
I mean, you guys.
That's horrible.
I don't think everyone understands. That's like an F6 tornado. A 7.0, people are dead. Buildings are down. I need to know that this is true. Are you shitting me that it's 7.0? A 7.0? You're fucking kidding me. Folks, I've been through about 800 earthquakes in my life. I lived in California for almost 20 years. If it's a 7.0, people are dead. A lot of people are dead. You got to make sure you got your facts straight. Oh my God. I want to cry right now.
I'm looking at earthquake track. Yesterday was a 7.1. Oh, that was in Nepal. Let's see.
7.0 is like that would be one of the largest earthquakes. That is close to the 1901 earthquake. 7.0 is cataclysmic. If it's in North Carolina.
I'm not seeing okay, it says this year, Ferndale, California, but it doesn't have today it says a 3.2.
That's nothing.
There was 18 earthquakes in the past 24 hours. This is from earthquake track.
This was off the coast of California. This was the one that's supposed to generate a tsunami. Please be careful when we say there's a 7.0 in Northern California. That means the epicenter is in Northern California, San Francisco. That would kill a lot of people. The 7.1 magnitude struck at depth. Okay, so an offshore 7.0 and an at depth is not the same thing as a Northern California 7.0 earthquake. We must be careful with what we say. Because, yeah, I've got nothing. But I'm telling you right now, the big one in San Fran in 1901, I think it was 1901.
I mean, I wasn't allowed. I remember hearing about
1906. 1906. Thank you so much, Joanne. That was a 7.9. That was a 7.9 in 1906. Olivia's mom remembers it well. And little joke. So a 7.0, like, is bigger than the Northridge quake, which flattened the Northridge Mall. So, and I'm not upset at anybody. Deidre, I just don't know what you were talking about. But when we say Northern California 7.0, that means it's on land, it's in the San Andreas Fault, and there's going to be a lot of dead people. So, okay, no earthquake. If you were if it was in North Carolina, you would feel it in South Carolina, or you would feel it in Southern California. Arizona would feel it. A 7.0 in Northern California, Nevada would feel it, Utah would feel it, Colorado wouldn't feel it, Arizona would feel it, New Mexico maybe. They may not feel it, but it would register. It would be like a 2.2, 2.3, and it would be on the Geiger counter or the seismograph. But a 7.0 is no joke. We felt the Northridge earthquake, and we were an hour and a half away in Bakersfield. Okay, so no harm done. No, it's okay, Deirdre, it's okay. Hey, Deirdre, you might be right. So let's find out, right? This might be breaking news. And if we find, so everyone keep on top of it and we'll figure it out. Deirdre, you're amazing. We love you. I just want us to be very careful. There was a 7.0 on December 5th, but it was out in the water, and there were supposed to be possible tsunamis. Well, that went by the side. I remember. That's not a Northern California earthquake. So that's like saying Tulsa experienced an F5 tornado. you're like, oh my God, Tulsa, Oklahoma got hit by an F5. Everyone's dead, right? That's serious shit. The same thing with a 7.0 in Northern California. That's going to hurt people. You know what I mean? There would be a huge tsunami warning. And that at a 7.0 moving in North Carolina, but see, there was a tsunami warning for the December 5th quake. 600 miles away, there was a tsunami warning, and then they let it go. So a 7.0 in water is different than a 7.0 in land. Very different experience. Okay? Very different thing. Okay, I got worried. And just to show you 1906, I mean, it's no joke. It looks like Gaza. Now, those buildings have all been renovated and all been rebuilt and, have different types of foundations, and they're designed to withstand earthquakes. I was in a 7th floor building when we got hit with like a 5.2 in Bakersfield.
Oh, that's terrifying.
The building was doing this. And I felt like I was at sea again. All right, let me know what we hear if there's any major earthquake. At this point, we're going to wave off. But if somebody said that it's happening in Northern California, let me know. I'm going to check news real quick. Check some sources, and then we're going to get back to the fire. I've got nothing on the wire. We're good. All right, so let's get to some news that you would grab, what I would grab, what you would grab, and then give you guys some thoughts of what you would grab. This is like 2 emotional videos, and I don't get too emotional, but I figured before we get into it, we should talk a little bit about it. This gentleman, his house caught fire. He lost everything. And this is what happened.
Firefighters rescued a cat from a burning home in Tarzana. The owner was overcome with emotion, falling to his knees, hugging his cat, giving it water. That fire started last night near West Topham Street. Fire and smoke were seen coming from that roof. After some time, crews did manage to put that fire out. No other injuries were reported. And you can see there, all the material stuff can be replaced. He just wanted his cat.
Yeah, very, very nice of those firefighters to really help rescue that cat.
I mean,
that's
shit.
Yeah, that's really, thanks for the warning. Jeez.
I said it was emotional, but it was a good emotion.
I thought it was like this is, I saw one that was really bad too.
His kitty's
earlier.
alive. His kitty's alive.
Yeah.
That means a lot. And yes, it's sad. And you saw the little thing panting, and you hope that there's no burns to his lungs.
Right.
And that's usually what it means, is that he's inhaled superheated air, and we just hope, right? But sorry. Yeah, I mean, now that I watch it in context, it probably wasn't the best choice. Let's kids with leukemia is next. Let's.
Oh, great! No, gosh.
This one might be better. Hold on. I don't know. At this point, my choices are shit. So let's find out. This guy was by the side of the road and driving, and he saw. I hope this one's. God, if I make you cry on this one, I'm gonna. Jeez, here, just watch.
Oh.
So he sees this bunny rabbit, and watch his reaction when the rabbit runs into the fire.
Oh, God. Well, it's gonna die. That rabbit didn't make it.
No, it didn't. It didn't get hit, and he saves the bunny.
No, rabbits are very finicky. They die over everything.
I know, but who's being gloomed now? This guy saved the damn rabbit.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad he did.
You don't sound glad.
Died.
You don't sound glad, Amy.
I just very depressed about all this fire stuff.
No, it's not going to get any better. I mean, God, now we're going to get into the real tragedy. Listen. I think seeing humanity, even though that rabbit absolutely may not survive, and they just have heart attacks from stress and anxiety anyway, because their hearts are going about 275 beats a second.
They're just very fragile animals. They're
Yes, they are.
extremely fragile animals. Like they die
Yeah.
over like the smallest thing. It's sad. I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm glad he saved the rabbit, but they immediately die like of a heart attack.
The good news is that if it did die, you have a wonderful bed of coals to cook yourself up some beautiful rabbit. But to see humanity, and this is what we saw during Harvey, is you saw the forest emptied, and animals were seeking shelter in neighborhoods. I mean, and I'm not kidding, where you would see deer sitting right on the line where cars are going by, just watching the forest and watching the water, waiting for it to recede. Snakes, possum, everything you can think of. And there's something about animals that we just have to have that connection. And it's okay if everything else goes, as long as we have our loved ones and as long as we have our animals, we can rebuild. But this fire is really serious. And James Woods, he doesn't have fire insurance, and he's an actor.
None of them do.
Yeah. Most
He canceled
of them
it
don't.
last year.
Go ahead and explain that.
They stopped fire insurance for, I think, the entire Palisades area. They removed it and said it was no longer cost effective for the insurance companies. So they removed that part of the policy for every single person in the area. They don't have money to, unless you, I mean, there are a lot of wealthy people, but there are also people who are not movie stars and wealthy in this area.
An
and
entire
they have
mobile home park was just
done.
obliterated.
Yeah, it's horrible. I saw a lot of devastating videos today. It was gut-wrenching.
I don't
So.
want to bring us down, but here's some of them, because we got to bring the news. But here's the problem: is, well, let's talk about the lack of preparedness from California, from Hawaii, and these Democrat states. Because listen, Jewish space lasers are not responsible for this fire. I'm going to debunk a lot of shit tonight, and this is what I do, and I'm going to help you put the 2 plus 2 together. But the fact that insurance companies can be selective on where they want to gamble with their money, these people are scum.
Yep.
And they are just the worst people on the planet, and they profit off of other people's misery. And I'm just asking a question. I'm wondering if there's any CEOs for the big insurance companies that are walking a little softer tonight with what happened to the United Healthcare CEO. Are they making decisions that are listen, they've got to make money. They've got to. And insurance companies have to make some profit. But the difference is turning off people's, when they've literally been put to sleep, and the insurance company calls the anesthesiologist and the oncologist and have them stop a surgery because they found that the cancer wasn't as severe as they thought, and pull her off the table. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
And there's something wrong that, there's medicine that's absolutely needed for people to survive. And I'm not talking about universal health care. What I'm talking about is, can we have some decency? Because the problem is that people get into these situations where it's life-saving medicine, and it kills them after they get it. Not from the after effects, but because of the money. Guys, I had one trip in an ambulance. It cost me $25,000. One trip in an ambulance. My dad got medevaced from his house to a Swedish medical center, which is like a 22-minute chopper flight from up in the mountains when he had his heart attack. $175,000 after insurance. Yes, it saved his life. But you know what my dad said? He's like, I just wish he kind of would have let me die. Because now I got to somehow pay for all this shit. And how the hell am I going to afford this? My mother's brain surgery that she had after having me, my dad worked 4 jobs, and he had to pay like $200 and some odd thousand back in the 60s, late 60s. That's like $2 million, man. It was incredible. And he's like, I just got done paying this off like 5 years ago. And now you're asking me to pay for a medevac flight? And it's just, healthcare needs to be privatized, and we need a government solution. We need a tri-state solution. We need multiple solutions so it gets competitive. Watch this video, and then Amy, I want you to come back and comment on it. I know you got a lot to say on this bad boy. Here we go.
Hi.
Thomas says $75. Well, that may have been VA. But with me, they had to go ahead and come into my house, and they put me up to an EKG. Thought I was having a heart attack. I could not move. They gave me a sedation in the lower back and had to give me an injection in order to transport me. Got me to the hospital. And then there was the stay in the hospital, which was 3 nights. And they had to run multiple tests. And all of that wasn't covered under insurance. It cost me $75,000. So now, or $25,000 for that. Now, if I have insurance, it might be an out of pocket or a deductible, but that's not the way it works. And every state is different. And that's the problem with this stuff. It's ungodly expensive. All right, here's the rest.
Oh, snap. Pin it to win it. Oh, fucking God, I got these tires, dude.
So Melanie says, and I'm interested to hear your perspective. Matt, nope, you're not correct on this one. I don't know what you mean. What am I not correct on? So it's either the rabbit, the cat, or Jewish space lasers, or insurance. Let me know what I'm not correct on. I'd be interested to hear your point. So you haven't heard my opinion. Gavin stopped control burns due to climate. I haven't even begun to explain. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we're. Melanie, tell me what you mean first, so I don't fly off the handle. Amy, thoughts, and then I'm gonna give you mine and see what we think.
I don't really have any thoughts. My heart goes out to every single person living through this. It has to literally feel like hell. I mean, the winds are as strong as hurricane winds, which is just unfathomable to think about being in a hurricane, but instead of rain, it's literally fire that's coming at you. And I can't imagine. My heart breaks for every single person. I'm hoping the insurance companies do change their minds and actually pay out to these families who have lost everything.
Yeah, and Melanie says the insurance in Cali. What did I say that was wrong? The only thing I said is, oh, okay. I had no idea about the insurance.
Yeah.
We had fire insurance in Bakersfield, but what am I wrong about? I didn't say that they did.
I did.
What I said is James Wood didn't have insurance and lost his home, and then Amy explained to me about how
They revoked
Palisades.
they revoked. I'm just gonna look it up. Revoked.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The fire insurance. I think it was last year.
So when you look that up, I want to talk about this together because there's a lot here. I mean, there's a lot to unpack when it comes to this. I have been in a situation very similar to this video right here, and I'm going to show it to you. And this isn't about grandstanding. This isn't about, oh, well, look what I've done. This is just to show you what it feels like. This is it. Amy, if you haven't seen this one, watch this.
Yeah, this is so January 15th, 2024 is I guess when they stopped renewing they stopped. You could still renew your policy. You just could not renew the fire portion. And I don't think it was everywhere in California, but it was specifically Palisades Place.
Yeah.
Maybe others, but
I'm sure. Melanie, I don't know what you mean I'm wrong. I never said anything against it. I said, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know they did that. So, Amy, did I dispute what you said or something? Because I'm not sure where.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, Melanie. I don't know how I'm wrong because I don't know anything about this. So therefore, I just said no. I didn't know about it. That's it. Store theft, car theft, building in probes, dangerous areas. I'm aware of all of that. I didn't know anything about the fires and insurance. That's my point. Here's the video. Melanie, maybe you could just explain a little bit longer how I was wrong so I can understand. Here is a video very similar to what we went through. Now, the thing about this
is the dog one?
Yeah. So
oh, gosh.
I want to explain this. What is happening? This is on top of a hill. And we're going to talk about the controlled burns. I grew up here. My dad used to do them. Okay. I've got my nephew. He is a Bakersfield County Fire Department. He's also a volunteer. I've got fire is in my blood. Like I should have been a fireman. I don't know why I wasn't, but it's in my blood. On Olivia's side, she's got like 3 fire captains and a chief and her uncles. Fire is almost as relevant as or prevalent as police officers in my family. So I understand, at least from a fire science perspective and from an overall political bullshit that they have to deal with in California. So this is very similar to what happened to us in the Hayman fire. Now, the Hayman fire happened in Colorado, Deckers, Colorado, all the way through Pine, Colorado. And when we were driving in, there was fire on all sides. And there were 500-gallon propane tanks launching into the sky 1,000 feet, okay, and exploding. I'm talking 500 gallons. We're talking 1,000-gallon, 5,000-gallon tanks that are not buried because the ground freezes. So these are above ground. And that fire would cook those things off, and we would literally see booster rockets flying into space and exploding. I mean, not space, but you get it. I mean, and the trees would explode because when a tree gets hot enough, the sap boils, it can't escape, and it explodes. This, if you want to know what hell feels like and sounds like and smells like, this is it. And all around them, if that glass goes, every one of them are dead. Because what's going to happen is that fire is going to, right now it's out of oxygen and it's being sucked around the fire, the circumference, but the inner area is deprived of oxygen. So it's not going to grow unless there is a break and fuel ends on one spot. Then that's going to bring in airflow and it's going to create a vortex. And then it's just going to incinerate that house. But right now, surprisingly enough, this is why the house is still standing. So having fire on all sides of this thing is actually what's keeping it here. Unless you disturb that vacuum that's taking place. And if you crack one of those windows, all of that fuel and all of that oxygen and all of that air that is inside that home is going to literally bring that fire into the center. These guys...
Oh, they canceled school again?
They canceled school again. So kids are excited. So here's the video. Watch this.
Yeah, let me just tell Jason. Jeez, please.
So this is a vortex. So you have a tornado basically, and 100-mile-an-hour winds are literally just igniting this. And I'm going to tell you what we saw in Pine, Colorado in a second. Help explain it.
Hi. Just be okay. You're gonna be okay. Hi. You're gonna be okay. Oh shit. Well, we gonna park. Yeah, don't worry about that, dude. Look at that. Oh shit. Scary, huh? Yeah.
I know, and everyone on the show heard you. Can you keep it down and close the door?
The plastic is gone, dude. Yeah. Fuck.
That's good.
We're good.
Oh, the water already?
Yeah. Oh, shit.
You can see the water going against these windows from the pool.
So, where's the gas?
Outside.
Okay, the gas is off right now.
See all those embers?
No, don't open the window. Don't open.
Don't open the fucking window.
Right.
Do not, if you want to backdraft, feed that fire oxygen. Open up that window and you're all dead. Every single person in that house was dead. There's things you don't do.
I
in a
heard they
fire.
survived though.
They did because
Okay.
the integrity of the glass remained, which honestly has a higher ability than plaster, stucco, drywall, and wood. The burn temperature of glass is much different and can be heat resistant. What you hope doesn't happen is that the winds pick up an umbrella and shove it through that glass and crack that glass. Then you're done. They are so lucky with what happened.
Oh shit! Sorry.
So here's what I want you to envision. The Hayman fire had about 60-mile-an-hour winds. And this is what I tried to explain to my kids. I said, kids, look at one of our fires that we have and imagine that it starts. And it burns all the brush around. And what's in our fireplace? Just those coals. And then you take those coals and you throw them at 100 miles an hour. What's going to happen?
It's a lot of fire going to start. Yeah.
Right. They couldn't comprehend because when you blow on a fire, you see what happens. It gets red hot. It starts taking in more oxygen. It starts burning more fuel and it starts to expand. And when you are in 100-mile-an-hour winds, you are providing 360-degree circumference around those coals. Those coals at that point become superheated. And because it's burned off all of its fuel, it becomes like a lantern wick. It can maintain its heat, and it becomes essentially carbon, and it will hold its glow and become a 360-degree lighter. And it is being spread. And the problem is exponentially it's growing. So in Deckers, we would see where the wind was coming off the mountain. We could see the fire move doing this. And I'm not kidding. 60-mile-an-hour winds. Lahaina, this is why people didn't understand Lahaina, is it created a tunnel through those streets. And that fire was moving so fast. If it was in where Amy lives, to me, moving at that speed, 100 miles an hour, it'd be there in 12 minutes. There's no time. And when it is literally forest and brush, there is nothing faster that I've ever seen in my life than a brush fire. And my father told me, I'm not scared of anything except brush fires. Because I have never, it would be 10 miles away and it would be on top of us in minutes. And we would be laying down in burnt ground 10 feet from a wall of fire, hoping that we didn't ignite. Putting our hoses down in the ground and making mud puddles and laying in that shit, praying to God that we wouldn't get hit with embers and we wouldn't ignite. California, for 40 years, and I grew up there, born there, and my dad fought the Carpinteria Fire, the Santa Barbara Fire, Simi Valley fires. He's fought fires in Malibu. He has been all over California fighting fires. And I will tell you that California used to do controlled burns. And these controlled burns were designed to create firewall. And hold on, I'm getting a call. Go ahead, caller. Where are you from? What do you want? Caller, where are you from? What do you want to talk about?
Is it
Caller.
It's not the insurance fault. That's not what it's meaning.
You need to call back. You're breaking up. Give me a call back, okay? So here, I'm just going to try to put this in a nutshell because there's so much to talk about. But California used to control burns, and what they would do is they would draw fire lines. And essentially, they would get high areas of propensity to catch fire, and they would literally backburn and do controlled burns. Sometimes controlled burns get out of control, but they would burn the fuel source around. That way, if a fire created, it would segment and stop. They stopped doing that in California. They stopped removing deadfall. They stopped going through and investing money in this. And this is why California is perpetually on fire. And at any given time can have 300 fires going at once in fire season. There's no water in these hydrants. They're tapping dead hydrants. Melanie, it's okay. You can call again and try. But what people don't understand about California, and probably one of the biggest things, is it is literally mountainous and hills. And it's very difficult with convection and the winds and the heat element in California to control fires. Because most fires, and how it works is they burn up in the day and they burn down at night. And the good news is if you can hold a peak and not allow a fire to crest, you can have it burn itself out by going back down, because cold air pressure comes down at night and pushes the fire down the mountain. And if it goes into its own footprint, it will ultimately, it's all about fire control. It's about stopping the hot spots, the winds, and the residual winds carrying coals around to other vulnerable areas. And you can do that with thermal imaging. You can do that with heat blooms. You can do that with, you can even do it with drones now, of dropping small amounts of water, putting out spot fires. But that's really all it is. And it's going in and it's digging out some of these trees that are still aglow, spreading out the ash, burying embers, all that type of stuff. But you can manage and stop it. But they're not doing that anymore. So what happens is they catch, and the fuel source is infinite. So convection doesn't matter anymore. Because when you have 100-mile-an-hour winds, it's bringing in a dry wind pushing through, and no amount of convection is going to stop that from cresting the hill. And this is why these California fires are so bad. But they're stopping it because of global warming. They're doing it because of cost, and they have no longer reduced the amount of fuel that these fires can take. And this has happened over the last 35 years. This never happened. We had fires in California, but nothing like this. Dead hydrants are not okay. Cutting $17 million from the fire department's funding, we're going to talk about that, is not okay. This is California's responsibility. And although I feel for them and I pray for them, and this is not a political thing, but this is their own doing. Amy, go ahead. I'm sorry I went off on that.
No, I absolutely agree. And didn't Gavin Newsom get granted how many billions or millions, I don't know, of dollars
right
just a few years ago, and did nothing with that money to restore the water reserves that they had already a need for years ago?
Correct.
It is his fault. I don't blame the people who live there, because people probably don't know about those things. They probably don't look into these things. The average person who lives there doesn't know that they had a water reservoir that was empty that they needed to refill.
Right.
They probably had no idea.
And it's not like this water needs to be clean. You can use brackish water. You can pump it in seawater. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yep.
I grew up off the 101. I know Malibu extremely well. Extremely well. I used to eat fish tacos off the same place where they filmed Point Break in Malibu.
Such a good
movie. Someone said Moon Shadows is gone in Malibu. I mean,
everything's gone.
I know. I grew up there. I grew up in Ventura. We used to up and down the 101, man. Malibu was not that far from us. 55, 60 minutes north. This must stop. The fear of global warming is doing more damage than doing these controlled burns. Now they're like, people are going, oh yeah, well, Donald Trump says they rake the ground. Well, they do. It's actually called raking. You may not like it, but it's true. They will bring pine needles and stack them in a long line and build a wall of burned soot and ash, and then spray it down so it becomes like a hardened. Have you guys ever had a fire outside and it rains a little bit? That ash turns into like a real hard, almost like a concrete.
Yep. That's
what they do. They spray it down. It creates a firewall. And they rake the ground, then they burn it in a controlled burn, and then they watch it. They also will burn acres upon acres of fuel sources, but they will leave that rake in a pattern and just water it down. That's it. And let the natural rains take care of it. And it creates a firewall. So when they laugh at Trump, it's like they think that they're talking about raking the ground. Yes, you do. That is why you have tools and shovels. The number one for U.S. Forest Service tool that they have, besides a radio and a fire blanket, is a shovel. Here's a video. Oh, this pisses me off. I get so mad at this stuff because it's just stupidity.
I have a question for you because I did not. I was hoping that the family got out with the dog. Do you know how they got out? Like how'd they get rescued?
Oh, it just burned.
Because it was.
I don't know, but I guarantee you, the fire moved on. And the good news is the fire's moving at 100 miles an hour. The bad news is the fire's moving at 100 miles an hour. So it's going to consume fuel at such a rapid rate. I guarantee that fire had already moved on and was manageable, probably in a minute or two, because when it's moving that fast, the heat source is looking for new fuel and new oxygen because it's so fast.
Yeah,
it eats at an ungodly rate because it is being fed constantly from the winds. So that's the good reason and the bad reason of the fire is it's going to burn its fuel source quickly and move on to the next, but it's going to burn its fuel source quickly and move on to the next. That's the scary part, if that makes any sense to me. You've got to manage these forests better. Here is, I'm going to get to that these were set intentionally here in a second, which you're killing me, but I want to.
Space lasers.
I am so pissed off.
Drones
Started the fires.
Yes.
Drones
and
with pitch.
they're attacking planes.
I'm so sick of this shit. I can't stand it.
There was a report that came out. I didn't verify if it was real or not, but I saw a report come out. I don't even know which news source, so maybe somebody can look it up. They said that the plane that I guess had something hit the engine recently, that it was a metallic object, and now they're blaming drones. I don't know. I literally saw it like 5 minutes before the show started.
I'm so done. All right, let's watch this.
But let me give you one that you may not know.
Okay.
Which I think you know everything, actually, as a student of yours. But
someone ban Linda Rousey, please. Nice tits, but you're not staying on my channel and stealing money from people. By the way, speaking of money, folks, we're only at $114.19 on our donations. Now is the time for me to mention it because we are getting close to, about 13 minutes away. We survive on your donations. Without you, we don't stay on the air. So please help us out. Go to thedumbshow.com/donate. We take PayPal, we take Venmo, and we also take to our P.O. box, and it 100% goes to the show, keeps the lights on, and we continue to do this weeknights for you. This is our full-time job. I run all the Facebook, do the graphics, do the posts, do the news articles, write the show, work with Amy, work with Leroy. We create an element of news and conversation for you. And if you like what you hear and you're like, you know what, we want it to continue, you can help us. Consider us the PBS of the internet. Here's the rest.
I will say this too. Matt does.
Go ahead.
I was just going to sing your praises. You truly work probably 4 full-time jobs doing just this. Like, it's a lot of work. I don't think people could even comprehend it unless they have any experience with it. I mean, I'm only here a couple of days a week. I don't do a fraction of what you do. It's just, you do a lot.
Well, I appreciate that, but you are a part of the team, and we love you. And without you, we can't do anything.
I love you guys too.
Yeah, you're the best. Here's
Really
Donald
good.
Trump talking about fires.
But water, in Los Angeles, you can't get proper amounts of water.
Right.
And it's unbelievably expensive. And you might have a house in Beverly Hills, and they're actually thinking about rationing water. Can you believe it?
I can believe
and
it.
I was in the farm court country with some of the congressmen. We're driving up a highway, and I say, how come all this land is so barren? It's farmland, and it looked terrible. It was just brown and bad. I said, but there's always that little corner that's so green and beautiful. They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north of water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured. You got to see this. We're driving up, and I had never seen it before. It's like Iowa. It's the most fertile land. Iowa's blessed with great land. Idaho for a potato, right?
Yeah.
But they're just, by the way, some land is good for a potato, some land is good for corn. It's the craziest thing. I love it into the Pacific.
Who knows what they did? But whatever foolishness that they did led to the situation that they're in now.
Think of those dry farms.
So Trump goes on and talks about the U.S. Forest Service is one of the most important things that California needs. It is a high desert. And a lot of people don't understand that California is a high desert. And every one of their plants that's not a succubus or a type of cacti or any other type of desert-based plant is imported. The amount of oaks that are in California are not natural to California. If you go to Thousand Oaks, if you go to Ojai, you go to Ventura, you go to Camarillo, Santa Paula, Oxnard, all the way up to 101, there's oaks everywhere. And this is where all the major shows are filmed. 24 was filmed there. A-Team was filmed there. SEAL Team is filmed there. Because it looks like Afghanistan in California in a lot of places, surprisingly enough. But oaks are not natural. Pine trees aren't natural in Southern California. They're natural in Northern California. And they have repopulated Southern California to not be a desert anymore by bringing in forest from different places all over the world. They have palm trees in California. Well, palm trees didn't spring up in California. They were brought over from overseas, and they were brought over from Florida and reappropriated inside California. And you can read the etymology of the plant life in California. It is one of the most diverse plant lives in the world. The problem with that is that the vegetation that created in a high desert is most deserts aren't supposed to have that. Most deserts are designed not to have a massive amount of vegetation because they will catch on fire. And this kills animal lives and the natural cycle doesn't take place. This is a problem with California. So they have an ungodly amount of plant life that grows, that gets water in the winter, grows in the spring, and burns in the summer. That's right, John. Palm trees are not indigenous to California. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of things. Tumbleweeds, exactly. Some of those sagebrushes that you see, those aren't, none of this, and it's literally created a beautiful habitat for people to live in and get rich and, retire and, look at, but you're still in a fucking desert. And they have cut off water. I mean, if you have not, I'm sorry, I'm keep going off on this. This is a really important topic for me, but if you go to San Fernando Valley and you go through Bakersfield, you can see the pipes. We're talking 75-foot circular pipes, 7 of them lined up that are pumping water, fresh water, out of the Sierras and out of the Canadian Rockies and out of some of the clean water that pours into California. And it's being collected and not given to Southern California and the farmers. And they've rerouted that water into LA. Miles and miles. Have anybody seen the movie V, the TV show, where they're like running around and they want to poison the water supply? All of that is California pipeline of hundreds and hundreds of miles of giant water pumps taking water away from Southern California. This is one of the problems. Amy, what am I missing? I'm sorry. I just
didn't they do this again recently too? Pete Buttigieg, didn't he reroute a whole stream? Because
that was in Oregon, right? In Washington.
Oh, that was Oregon. Okay, yeah. I'm like, I know he did it somewhere. It's like they keep to save a fish, and I'm not. I like animals, and I think our ecosystem's so messed up because of all the things we've done. But we're thriving for a reason because we're the top of the food chain. So unfortunately,
supposed to be.
To keep us alive, some things are going to have a harder time living. And I'm not trying to minimize that. That sounded really mean, but I don't know. Please let our farmers be able to farm. Give them water. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, ain't it the truth? Here are
so expensive.
You think I'm kidding?
Our food.
Here,
no, I believe you.
Absolutely,
I've never seen it, but I believe you.
Yeah, these are the pipes, and there's hundreds of miles of them, and you can see the size of them. They're incredibly huge, and they run all up and down the valley where and they divert the natural water flows, and they are everywhere. This is right outside of driving to Arizona. This is on I-10. You can see these. And they're running up through the mountains, and they are just storing and collecting water and rediverting to Los Angeles. You've got to, and the thing is, they have so much water, it's dumping into the ocean. It's just running off these aqueducts and going into the ocean. And if you guys know anything about California, there's aqueducts everywhere. My high school had one that was about 7 miles long, and we would go in it. And it started at our school, and it would end up out in the beach. We would walk through that. Hobos lived in there. And you would get massive rain, and you'd get your ass. You could die in there. We were stupid, but we would used to make homemade torches and bring flashlights and walk to the beach from there and come out at the beach. And all that's fresh water, just dumping into the ocean. They don't collect it. I'm not joking. 20 feet wide with 30 feet high walls, a tunnel going down through the heart of Ventura, California, in multiple places. And these aqueducts, when the water comes from the hills, and we're talking tens of millions of gallons of water during the rainy season, just gets dumped right into the ocean. And instead of collecting it and redistributing it and finding a way to use it, they just let it go. And they bring their water in from the Colorado River, and they have leases and deeds with Colorado and Arizona, New Mexico, and others. And they use that water to launder hundreds of millions of tons of laundry a month in all the hotels in Los Angeles, in San Diego. And instead of using the water that they have and storing it and processing it and making infrastructure, they allow their entire state to be bone dry. And they do this every fucking year. Real quick, here is the one image I wanted to share with you. This is the State Water Project. And although not extremely detailed, you can see all the way down to Southern California, all the way up until past Los Angeles and into San Francisco. These are these state water projects that are redirecting water to the greater cities and leaving these agricultural farms and open tundra completely vulnerable. Susie Wood says the Colorado River feeds into the Hoover Dam. Did you just hear what I said?
Yeah. It's really cold too, the Colorado River. It's freezing.
It's beautiful though. I'll show you right now real quick so you understand. More than 15% of the water California is California's water. It comes from the Colorado. It receives 4.4 million acre feet of water from the Colorado each year. It's the largest share of any state. The water is delivered to California through the California Aqueduct and All-American Canal. So may feed into Hoover Dam. It's redistributed through those aqueducts that I told you about. And I don't believe that the Colorado stops at the Hoover Dam because the Hoover Dam has lost water. The water line is like 175 feet low. And if you haven't seen the Hoover lately, there's hardly any damn water. 1 second, folks. Yeah, it doesn't stop at the Hoover Dam. It may redivert and collect some in the Hoover Dam. So, Colorado River ends in the Colorado River Delta, which is located in Mexico near the Gulf of California, Sea of Cortez. So, it doesn't stop in the Hoover. Anyway, Los Angeles, Nevada, parts of Arizona get water from Colorado River. It just, you have the ability, if it wasn't for the environmentalists, to do things like desalination. You have got endless water in the Pacific. I mean, what do you want? You could dump 100 million gallons of water a day and not make a fucking dent. And if you want to stop, if you're worried about the water levels rising, well, here's a great way. Oh, but we got to save the dolphins and the mackerel. Fuck the dolphins and the mackerel. Let's stop killing.
Go further out. Like, they'll still be okay. Like, they'll be okay.
But we want to swim with them and see them diving in the waves. Yeah, and you know what? I saw that. I can watch that on a National Geographic. I was in there in person. I used to swim with them. We used to surf
You're fucking
with
with their ecosystem then. You shouldn't be doing that. It's actually wrong.
I used to pee in the water too. I didn't care. I didn't give a shit. So
I think in Florida, you're not allowed to touch them, even though they'll come right up to you. Like, you're not allowed to like get near them. Like the manatees and everything. You have to you have to get away from them, even if they come up to you. So
we love with dolphins in the water because then we're no sharks. You saw seals, you get the fuck out of the water. You see a seal, get out. You see a dolphin, chill. And they would surf with us. We get on their boogie board and surf, and they would right with us on the waves. And they would just stay out there, and they would just... Dolphins are awesome.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. But seals, nope. That's shark food. All right. Here is a video. Sorry, I kind of get hot under the collar when it comes to this. Like I said, a lot of fire in my family, and I hate that California is doing this. Here is a video that people are going nuts over. Ugh. And it's about this.
Oh.
Drones.
That looks real.
Oh, I know, doesn't it? You know, where's the pitch coming from? A plastic device? Give me a break. Here is... Sorry, I'm trying to find the video. Folks, we're getting real close on the donations tonight. We are having a slow night. We are 100. Olivia just told me we're down about $160, $158. We sure could use some help keeping this going. Please help us out and see what we can do.
Don't make us reroute our water. Please donate.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah, we're not going to be able to give any donations to California.
Right.
Okay, let's take this off. I got the video now. Here is my first conspiracy theory video, which I'm going to debunk. Sorry for the shitty quality.
Oh, thank you for this. I wanted to ask you about this. The thing that goes shooting. That one.
I've got two of them for you.
Good.
Here it is.
UFO.
You guys see that?
Clearly aliens. Aliens.
It's the Jews again. Those Jews.
I thought it was aliens. Dang it.
Oh no, it's the Jews. The Jews are the aliens. Come on, you know this. Look at. Okay. So we see it come in frame by frame.
It just looks like fire to me, a layperson who knows nothing about this.
It's not fire. Well, it is fire, but it's not what you think. There it is. It appears here. So you can see that this thing is moving incredibly fast. Okay? If you just look right here, and the only context we really have is this mountain hillside. Let's just assume that that mountain hillside from that distance, which is probably 1,000 yards away, so about 3,000 feet, which is a little over a half a mile away. Let's assume that that hill is from its peak to down and down. Overall surface area is 600 feet, 700 feet, which is totally, would be a very small hill. But in California, that's consistent. I want you to look at how, and we could probably figure out with a topographical map what hill that is, how wide it is, look at the speed of this object and figure out how fast it's traveling and how far it's traveling a second. Okay? But here it is. I am telling you That thing is flying at hundreds of miles an hour. Hundreds. Not 50, not 75, but hundreds of miles an hour. 5,280 feet is a mile. 3,000 feet is a little over, about 60%, 0.6 of a mile. All right, so watch it in full time, and you'll see how fast this thing's moving. Okay, here we go. Hundreds of miles an hour. Okay, so now we got to go ahead and consider what can move at hundreds of thousands of, or hundreds of miles, and not hundreds of thousands of miles an hour, hundreds of miles an hour. Okay, well, a spacecraft can, a jet
Airplane.
can, an airplane, right? Can, sure. Certain vehicles can.
Drones, UFOs,
UFOs,
space
drones,
lasers.
right? Space lasers, Jewish space lasers.
Right.
But what also can is acetylene tanks, propane tanks, welders tanks, and oxygen tanks. And the only thing that's important here is the glow, which makes me believe that this is an oxygen tank or something to that effect because of the white glow, which that gas, or it could be another gas, but probably not propane. Propane would be a very yellow, bluish flame. But the white, oxygen. Folks, these tanks move extremely fast. They are very bright. And when they blow a valve, they immediately catch fire. They don't blow up necessarily unless the gases and the tank ruptures. But the safety valve will usually fix this issue. This is more than like a large type of oxygen tank or acetylene tank or possibly propane, because the brightness of it demonstrates that. I want you to think of a skyrocket, like a little firework that you light and phoom, goes up. How bright is it? What type of smoke does it leave? Right.
Yeah.
Now,
it's like blue and orange at first,
right.
and then
now do a propane tank. Yeah. Then do a narrow, long oxygen tank, like a 10-gallon narrow hospital grade tank. Chuck says it can't be oxygen. Why can't it be oxygen, Chuck? Tell me why it can't be oxygen. Helium tank, JP4 is white. JP4 is white. There's a lot that are white. I know oxygen.
What about like an old oil tank? I don't know what was in those oil tanks, but like, did they have those in California back in the day?
More than likely, propane tank. Propane is extremely expensive in California, by the way. It is very. Thank you, Bobby Richardson.
Bobby,
You're amazing.
you.
Thanks for getting us
You
there.
are amazing.
There are a lot of things that this could be, but what I'll tell you it's not a drone. It's not a Jewish space laser. It's not a missile. It's not a rocket. Okay? This is a burning piece that is being propelled by escape gas. Propane's possible. Once again, welding gas also something like an acetylene torch type thing. Yes. A lot of those gases that will show a white hot glow. I'm still wondering why it wouldn't be oxygen.
Do you think that it's a UFO using propane as their source to get?
Darren says acetylene tank. That was my first thought, acetylene. No, I think it's Jewish rockets being the fuel source being Neil Diamond songs.
Yes.
So it is a missile.
Yeah.
It is a missile. But once again, I still think oxygen or acetylene is my guess. That's my guess. I could be wrong. But based upon the overall profile, that's my thought. I'm still wondering why someone said it can't be oxygen. And my good friend Chuck Peterson said that the fire triangle, I don't understand what you mean. I know what the fire triangle is. I understand fuel. I understand heat. I understand oxygen. But if an oxygen tank ruptures, you're saying that pure oxygen would not ignite and be a propellant? Go ahead.
I thought they
Ames. What
were.
you-
But I thought they were. I think that's why you have like when you have like I know a lot of people who have oxygen tanks that they carry with them. They have huge warning stickers that say flammable, like
Well,
keep away from flame, things like that. So, right?
Yep. Well, and I understand what he means by the fire triangle because there's a certain amount of heat, certain amount of fuel, certain amount of heat, fuel, and oxygen required.
Yeah. I don't know about oxygen. I mean, I've seen the warning labels. I know people who carry them, they're not supposed to smoke or anything near them. Like when you see the old ladies at the casino with their oxygen tanks and their cigarettes, so they're not blowing up. So I don't know how accurate it is, but I've seen the warning labels. I just don't know much about it personally.
So we have a caller.
Hung up on?
No, you're not hung up on. Hold on a second. When
You
oxygen
there?
tanks, yeah, we're here. Can you not hear us? Hello, can you hear us?
Yes,
Hello,
Matt
hello.
can.
Okay, who are we talking to?
Chuck Peterson.
Chuck, talk
Hi,
to me,
Chuck.
man. What am I missing?
The fire triangle.
Yep.
It takes oxygen, fuel, and heat to complete a fire.
Right.
Oxygen by itself is just an oxidizer, so it cannot, by itself, without heat, without fuel, create a
Right.
fire.
Right. Right. I'm not saying that the tank can. I'm not saying that the oxygen tank created the fire. What I'm saying is that it is an effect of the fire, which cooked off oxygen tanks.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is that is an oxygen tank going across the screen that has lost a valve or ruptured or cracked and lost its integrity, which releases a blast of oxygen, which would ignite with the right type of heat and right type of fuel for the fire triangle and would ignite. Is that not correct?
Well, I would still debate that. Yes, those type of high pressure tanks, I think they're like 25,000 pounds of air pressure.
Correct.
Or 2,500 pounds of air pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And if you knock a valve off, they can go right through a block wall.
Yeah, they
However, airborne, and you see the trajectory, and you see some type of flame behind it, where's the fuel source?
Fuel source is
we're getting some
the oxygen is well, hold on a
fire
second.
life safety engineer.
No. Listen, I'm not that. Right? My dad taught fire science at the community college, and he was a captain of the fire department. That information doesn't translate to me necessarily. So my questions that I have are: it is safe to assume that if the integrity of an oxygen tank fails, that it could ignite, and you said it could propel. Would that oxygen not remain ignited at that point as a propellant? It
No,
should, right?
Not without an airborne fuel source to follow it. Acetylene tank, yes. The fuel source is inside the tank, and the oxygen is surrounding it as it passes through the air. So I totally get acetylene, fair enough, but oxygen by itself, you would see a vapor cloud behind it.
Correct.
But I don't think you would see a flame behind it.
I see what you're saying. You're right. Oxygen is an oxidizer, and it requires a fuel source like gas, like oil, like pitch, like
wood, like anything.
Wood, sulfur dioxide. Right. The triangle, you're absolutely right. I see what you're saying. So it very well could rupture the tank, and then the overall pressure would make that thing essentially a ballistic missile, but it would not leave a trail like that because the fuel source is not there. And once the initial push of gases would come out, the fuel source would not follow along at the same speed or ignite the oxygen because it is an oxidizer. So therefore, acetylene would, because the propellant would continue to remain lit. Okay. So my original thought of acetylene or propane is valid. Oxygen could be, but it would not be create a bright light and relieve and be ignited when it flew, which in most cases we probably wouldn't see it. Okay.
It would just, if it was in a fire, it would destroy everything in that fire. The sudden release of oxygen, as you mentioned earlier, fire follows oxygen. So
wait a second. Whoa. Okay. Oxygen. Thank you, Barbara Stewart.
Thank you, Barbara.
Chuck, help me with this. But oxygen supports combustion, does it not?
Yes.
Well, if it supports combustion, as long as it is ignited at the original source, it would follow the combustion protocol of science, would it not? So could you not ignite an oxygen tank?
A fire creates its own wind source, which sucks in oxygen.
Right.
You go back to your context about, I think you called it backdrafting.
Yeah.
Earlier, yeah. And my point is, a sudden release of pure oxygen in a fire environment would be a huge fireball.
Oh, it would be an explosion. No, you're right.
Yep.
You're right. The release of gases would not supersede. You're absolutely right. The introduction of that oxygen ultimately would combust and explode. It would not work as a propellant. Well, it would be a propellant, but the fire would create a massive explosion where the propellant would become obsolete because it would explode.
Yeah.
Very
What's
different.
stronger,
That
the
makes
fire
sense.
or the tank?
That's right.
And the
That
pressure
makes
release
sense.
valve on the tank. You know, we're getting into technical detail here, but yes.
No. You're educating me, Chuck. I mean, listen, that's why my comments were, I know it's not a UFO. I know it's not a drone, but it is. Because I saw these propane tanks go off and they were very similar. Here, can you watch video on this? Can you see this one?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, brother.
I have to turn you off because I'd get an echo, but I saw the video you showed. And the one thing that I questioned in that video, to be honest with you, Matt, is that it's a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
And most things without a spin on them, like a bullet, would have a hard time following a straight line and not be affected by gravity.
It's a great point.
And if you look at that video, it almost seems like it curves up before it ends up to the far left. It almost has kind of a straight downward trajectory. It doesn't seem to be influenced by gravity at all, and then it kind of curves up towards the end. That's the only thing I questioned. But I agree with everything. You know, settling tank. Why not?
Let me show you something real quick. I did analyze that. I saw it. I'm calling you the fire science guy. So that's your new name on the screen.
All right, we'll try it. Let me see if I can pull you up and get your sound turned off so you're not.
You're okay. Let me do this first. I'm going to mute it so you're not going to have any sound. When you watch this tank, I watched this several times, and I have the luxury of having a really big screen, so I can see these things fairly in more detail. Let me find the video. I just had it. Thank you, everybody, for your donations. Thank you for getting us really close to our goal. We're about $8 off. So remember, we always love to overdrive our goals. So if we can, help us get there. Thank you. Let me find the video. I just had it. I don't know what I did with it. No, it's not that one. God darn it. So many videos. Okay. When we watch it again, I'll explain it to you, is you see it is spinning. It is spiraling. And you can tell by the signature of the trail it's leaving. And it is most assuredly spinning, but it does hit ground. And that's the change of direction you're seeing where it goes vertical. It goes across and hits something and changes direction. And it's almost like it hits the ground and then goes up again. We can't see it because there's no silhouette. And damn it, I can't find the farkin' video. Let me check my history. Hold on.
By the way, long-time listener, great call in first time.
Oh, dude, we love it, dude. Chuck, I've followed you a long time. You kind of help us out with donations, if I'm not mistaken, from time to time. Is that correct?
Yep, that was me.
We love you for it. And Olivia and I notice it. So thank you so much for that, Chuck.
We all notice it.
I know. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm not trying to do that. Sorry.
Amy's just the asshole that doesn't thank anybody. And I'm
whatever. Fire, propane tank. I'm trying to find this thing. I don't know what happened to it. But if you watch that video, again, here it is.
There it is.
Okay, so watch this. It loses it loses integrity because you can tell. Now, this is something I do know about, which is overall aerodynamics of projectiles and missiles. So when this thing cooks off, you can see it's at the top of the hill. Are you watching that, Chuck?
Yes.
You can see it's on the top of that hill. So it's a house.
Yep.
And it goes almost straight down, but you can see it spitting. And then, boom, it hits. Watch.
Okay.
Right there. It hits. Boom. See it leave remnants? Boom, it hits. And it redirects. Boom. Right there. I'll pause it. So it hits something in flight, and then it loses control. Then it starts it starts wobbling and going out of control, which we would expect. But
fair enough.
Let me get back to it one more time. Oh, damn it. Okay. So right there. See that white dot right there? That's
yeah,
impact.
it does look like, almost like skims comes completely horizontal at that point.
It
Maybe
hits
that's
a rock.
ground deflection.
It probably just it's just the unfortunate weirdness of shit is it happens to be going at the altitude where it hits the top of that hill. If it was 20 feet below, geez, Mel, thank you, Mel. God, I love you guys.
Wow, thank
if it
you,
was
Mel.
20 if it was 20 feet below, it would hit that rock and probably bounce back or some shit or go straight up or down or whatever. But in this case, it shows you that it hits something, which also tells you it's not a drone, not a plane, not a UFO, not a Jewish space laser, because it has impact and still maintains its trajectory and doesn't explode.
Yeah.
Boom, it skips right there. And then it starts wobbling. And you see it. It just, it starts to roll. Watch. Boom. And that's it. That's a propane tank or an acetylene torch or something to that effect. Here's another one. It's okay. You helped me out tremendously, bro, because you helped me realize that oxygen would not cook off the same way as acetylene or gas or something else. And I didn't know. You taught me. And my dad taught me about the fire triangle and explained it to me. And it always, like I tell my kids when they're building a fire, I said, kids, if your fire's not going, it's either fuel, it's either heat or oxygen. It's one of the three. So spread out your logs and give it oxygen or add more heat or add more fuel. And
that's when you get a camping plate and you fan it.
That's right. Dude, have you seen the blow sticks? You haven't seen those. Okay, these are the greatest things in the world, Chuck. You can get them on Amazon for like $20. It is a long tube and it's got a reducer. So when you blow, it narrows. So it puts a thin stream of air and you put it next to the fire. And when you blow into that tube, it doesn't, most people are like, well, you would have to blow and then it would stop. No. Because it's a reducer and it narrows, you have more volume, you have less volume of oxygen coming out at the tip versus the beginning of it. So it doesn't take as much air. You can't blow through it, but it puts a tiny stream of like 3 millimeter stream of air into the fire. And the whole thing just goes, boom. It's incredible. We got one. So if you have a fireplace and you struggle, you don't need kindling and starter anymore. Get the fire started, get a spot caught with just some shavings, and then just blow with that little blow stick, and it lights up like a Roman candle. I love that damn thing. So just thought I'd tell you about it.
Right on, Matt.
All right,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Love you, Chuck. You're the best, man. Thanks for always supporting us.
All right. Get back to your show. I'll be watching.
Thanks, buddy. I love that guy. That guy
That's
has
great.
helped. He's like Bobby and Mel and
Yeah.
everyone else who gives. And there's an incredible amount of people, but he helps us out too. There's a lot of people who just don't want recognition, who give us money and say, don't say anything. Just good people. Can I show one more of the propane tanks and then we'll get this wrapped up here in a minute? So like Lahaina, I told what caused Lahaina. I said it was more than likely space Jewish. It was the Jews. Is that it was a down power line, is what I said, with 85 mile an hour winds in a high drought season. Guess what the final report was? That was it. Everyone said cars were melted. Well, aluminum can melt and has a lower tolerance than other metals. And aluminum rims, I've showed you hundreds of fires where aluminum rims melted. Lahaina, a year later, we just revisited it. where no property has been forced out from underneath people. And laws, thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Laws have been passed to shut down by state legislators to stop people from land grabbing. The things that I've seen tonight, BlackRock wants the property.
Why?
Well, according to the people, they're trying to, the celebrities are burning down their homes because of the sex tunnels and the child sex trafficking tunnels, and they are trying to destroy the evidence. Folks, this shit is crazy. Like, we have lost the plot. If you are actually sitting here and going, "Oh yeah, this is the way it is. This is the way," you're not working with a full deck. And I'm not trying to insult you.
I take offense to that. I don't. I'm kidding. Look, I think that a lot of people. I'm just speculating. I think people are so upset by what's happening in Hollywood, and we're seeing glimpses, especially with like the whole Diddy thing. I think people are really like waking up to the atrocities that happen out in California and all over the world, honestly. And I think everyone who's just now getting with it, they're looking for some kind of excuse or looking for some like aha moment or looking for someone to step in and go, okay, let's just gut everybody and clean it all out. And I think that's where these speculations come from. I don't think people truly believe that. At least I hope they don't truly believe that.
Well, I don't know, kid, because I got some pretty convincing assholes. By the way, a surface-to-air missile's overall profile is meant to explode. So yes, when it has a fault impact, it will detonate. More than likely. Now, I've seen SAMs that fall back to the earth and have no detonation. I've seen GBUs that are duds. I've seen clusters that are duds. I've seen a lot of ordnance not go. But it's a surface-to-air missile's design is to explode. The thing about a surface-to-air missile is that most of them make an explosion in the size of a grenade. But that's enough. When you're flying at 30,000 feet and going, a couple hundred, or coming, 800, 900 miles an hour, 1,000 miles an hour, a grenade is all you need to bring down a plane. So here's the video that I wanted to show you. And people, this is one they're saying, this is for sure. This is a drone. They're creating fires. And here's the video. I want you to watch this.
Everybody into our city, and also for our residents here who are being evacuated, we want to make sure that they see us there with those that are receiving them at these shelters. So I plan to be...
Okay. I want you to watch this right here. Very similar to what we saw. There's a white dot, and it's on fire. Do I believe there is sex trafficking of children? It does not require my belief. It is an incontrovertible fact. What I don't believe is that they are burning down hundreds of millions of dollars intentionally to cover up sex trafficking tunnels. Okay? So it doesn't require my belief not to believe that. This is the problem, Evelyn, is that you are someone who I really like in this show, and you're kind of remind me of Carrie, where she was 2 years ago. Carrie might be on right now. Carrie and I have become good friends but Carrie had some rough nights with me. Because I think what you're trying to say is because I disagree with a premise, therefore I don't believe in sex trafficking. First of all, rape doesn't need my belief. Discrimination doesn't require my belief. AIDS, the sunset, man-loving lesbians not being real does not require my belief. There are facts, and then there are things that are not factual because there was a lack of evidence. I'm aware that drones, I said that earlier, can create backfire. What I'm saying is that this is not a drone creating fire. Here is your contrail of whatever is dissipating that is on fire. Here is your mass, which is the projectile, and watch what's happening.
Wherever I need to be.
Now, everyone thinks that made a giant dip. It's actually made a turn. Watch it again.
And continuing to push out information. We're asking people to follow our social medias, City of Santa Monica Instagram handle.
Wow, there is no way
sharing that information, but
that is not manned flight, right?
It's the best place to go right now to click on all the links and get air quality reports,
it's like a space laser.
updates, and more information on the fire.
Again, also helpful.
Okay. I'm going to explain to you what this is. Of course there's sex trafficking of children going on. Of course it's an epidemic. Of course there are 320,000 children inside this country who were brought in and handed over to people without proper vetting that we don't necessarily know where they are. You're talking about a victim of sexual violation twice, me. And someday another story might be shared on this channel where you might find it might be more than just me. But I don't know who's comfortable and who's not. But can we stop pretending that I am not an advocate for reducing this shit that's going on? What I'm saying is it is a ridiculous and stupid notion that these fires are designed to cover up evidence and tunnels that are being used for sex trafficking. Because I'm telling you right now, fires don't bring down tunnels for sex trafficking, okay? They don't. That's not what happens. And even if it were, it is a ridiculous notion. Here is the video, and we'll play it back, and then we'll have a quick conversation about this. Now, tank goes off, probably on the side of a mountain. And you can see that it's already traveling at this point because there is a contrail right here. Got it? Then it comes in, and what was just described by the gentleman that we had on the phone, if you did not hear what he had to say, which was Mr. Chuck Peterson, is that something that is under pressure and is flying is not going to fly in a straight line unless it is spiraling. And the spiraling and the centrifugal force of the spiral keeps it from going up and down because it'll keep it into a rotation, very similar to a rifling of a barrel for a bullet. Bullets don't come out and go straight up or down. They go straight but if you don't rifle a barrel, you'll see some very unpredictable patterns of your shot. This is not in a spin like the other projectile was. And you're going to see it literally do exactly what Chuck said, which is go and fall straight down, okay? Just because everything follows the Corvallis effect and loses its pressure. But this isn't, because there are no fins, there is no stabilization. So it is simply flying on its own volition. This right here is another strike. Boom. Right there. It literally hits side of a mountain. You can see the shadow of it right here. Very similar to the other projectile that we were looking at. Okay? Now watch, because I'm going to convince you right now that this is not a drone. It then goes up because of its hit. Watch. Bam. And then it goes up. It's not changing its flight pattern. Then, because of the overall pressure, starts to go back down again. And it goes straight down. There it is. Watch what happens. It hits something else, changes direction. Now it's going for the nape of the earth. It is literally going across here. Boom. It hits right there. You can see the impact. Hits, 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 and done. It's not a drone. It's not a missile. It's not a geospace laser. It is a propellant that is following the laws of its own physics. That's it. I just demonstrated to you how many times it impacted the ground and changed direction. Folks, why would you use a drone when you could just use a match? Why would you use a drone or a space laser when you could use a flare? Folks, to be honest, with 100-mile-an-hour winds, would start it. In California, 2 fleas fucking can start a fire. The friction that they put off, that's a joke. We need to stop and recognize that fires happen. It's not global warming. It's just California, which goes through 7 years of perpetual drought and 2 years of no drought. That's the way California rolls. Amy, make it make sense.
California
what am I
rolls.
They're good.
I think what you're trying to say is that this is the Jewish space lasers, and that for some reason, even though the Jews own probably half of this area, or maybe more, they wanted to take it out. So, thank you.
I think that's where the space lasers were. It comes down to this: is that sex trafficking is absolutely real.
Yes.
But this whole blue roof house thing, come on, y'all.
I thought that was for the lasers.
They're saying
okay.
all the houses that didn't burn had
see
blue
comments.
roofs.
Oh, I can't see the comments.
Everything. No, this isn't our team. These are people on the internet. Folks, everything burned. Everything
Yes.
burned. Let me just explain how fast 100 miles an hour is. Go drive in your car and get to 100, open road, be safe. Okay? And then all I want you to do is just put your finger out the window. Now imagine that force that's pushing your finger is now pushing an ember. How far is it going to go? How far is it going to fly? How hot is it going to get? And folks, the one thing about pine that just baffled me, and this is what I asked my dad. I said, it wasn't the heat that scared me. It wasn't the walls of flame. It wasn't the 500-pound propane tanks exploding and the trees blowing up and literally blowing up. Like, just gone. Trees, man, 40 feet in the air. Pine, just blowing up. Splinters everywhere. Propane tanks just... I mean... war zone. It wasn't that. It wasn't the slurry bombers that weren't hitting our house. We saw them going all the way, but they weren't hitting us. It wasn't that we lost power. It wasn't that we lost our well and we had no running water. We're fighting this with 2 old 1968, 69 fireman jackets with 2 shovels. That's what we had. We had no running water. We were drinking water out of the reserve in the tank of the toilet. It wasn't that. It wasn't the no food. It wasn't how incredibly effing hot it was. How we had no chapstick and my lips literally felt like someone was just pulling them over my head. Like Carol Burnett said, if you ever want to experience childbirth, grab your bottom lip and pull it over your head. That's the way my lips felt. It wasn't any of that. You want to know what got me? The amount of embers in the air. There were millions of floating embers, and I must have had 1,000 burns on my face and my hands and my feet and down the back of my neck. And it was like sand in when the wind would blow and you get snow on you or sand, that's how many embers there were. And the winds that we had at the lowest point were probably 15 to 20 miles an hour. Now I want you to make it 100 miles an hour. And imagine walls of fire and soot and hot embers and coals are flying at you at 100 miles an hour because that's what happens. You don't need space
Sounds
lasers.
painful.
No.
Yeah, sounds painful.
You don't need space lasers. Okay? Amy, give us our minute.
Yeah.
I think it was a good night, and I appreciate it. Give us our minute.
Yeah, I think it was a great night. Thank you to every single person who donated. We really appreciate it, and it helps out so much. And I don't know. I mean, what's today? Wednesday? Yeah. We've had a weird week here on a personal level because of all the snow, and our lives being just we can't drive anywhere. We can't get out of these back roads. It's pretty rough. We did have a propane tank explode right down the street from us because a plow hit it, and that was interesting. So that was a different kind of fire. I'm just rambling. But no, thank you to everyone. It's been a great week, and it's good to be here. I missed you guys last week because I'm a loser, but it's so good to be here this week. So I love you guys.
We love you. We appreciate you. I am going to give them just a couple more minutes if that's okay, and you're going to get out of here and go enjoy your family, and we love you and appreciate you, and thanks for being on tonight.
Good night, y'all. Bye.
See you, kiddo.
Bye.
Ames. Bye. We love Amy. She is amazing. I just wanted to stay on for a couple more and provide some updates I think I covered everything in the show topics. But there is one situation that really bothers me, and it's this one right here with Joe Biden. And I apologize for the audio. It's not me. Blame these guys. Carrie, happy birthday. I didn't know it was your birthday. Did you get my email, Carrie? I answered you about your job. Carrie, did you get it? Carrie, let me know if you got it. All right, I want you to listen to this. So Joe Biden is doing a fire update with Newscum. And Joe Biden gets to talk about his brand new grandchild, which is a happy occasion. But I don't think the people whose homes are on fire, they really give a shit. And they want to hear about it. This isn't your moment. Read the room. Here is the video. Evelyn says, Matt, I appreciate you, and sometimes I ask a question that is, if you will, being a devil's advocate. It's totally cool. Just understand when I answer, I'm not grumpy or mad at you. You are representing. Carrie taught me a lot. Like, I would get frustrated to Carrie where I would just get off the show and I'm like, oh my God. Like, dude, what the is wrong? I adore Carrie, and she has made a huge impact on this show. I love it. You know? And there's no problem with it. But I just want to make sure that you don't take it too personal when I'm like, hey, of course sex trafficking is real. Of course the pedophile ring in Hollywood is real. Of course we know this. All of these things are true. My point is that these people who are doing this have stood and defied the U.S. government and law enforcement. They don't give a shit. And if we believe that this is as big as we think it is, it will break under this new administration, I hope. But just because there's a fire doesn't mean that they are trying to cover their tracks and burn down P. Diddy's evidence. And come on, guys, it's just ridiculous. You got to, at some point, it's not playing devil's advocate. It's feeding the BS. That's my point. So what Biden said here with Newscum, I didn't know it's Newscum. I don't like Gavin, is he's talking about the fires and people who lost their home. And then he's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm a grandfather. You know what? There's a time and a place, and that's not it. And as long as you are going to be the president for another 12 days, do you think maybe you could leave with a little more class than you failed to execute and display for the last 3 years and almost 12 months, 4 years? Because I can't stand it. It's so, and it's not about sensitivity. It's just, dude, you narcissistic old fart, nobody gives a shit about your grandkid because you already ignored one grandkid and now we're supposed to celebrate. Maybe what you could do is you could focus on the people in that fire. And maybe it's not about you. Maybe it's you sharing a story that helps people understand that they need you and they need us, and help explain how the federal government isn't going to create this into another North Carolina or another Palestine, Ohio. You have a responsibility. And you have let us down so much. And you think just once maybe you would make it about people who are going through this and not about you. But I guess that's the way it works. I guess you'll just pardon yourself for your lack of empathy and civility because you don't have much of one. we're going to end on a good note. A lot of people, I've been on Facebook a lot, and people are talking about dogs outside and saying, dogs have to come in. They're going to freeze to death out there. Let me explain something. Dogs derived from a hell of a lot colder environments than you are talking about now. And they would expose themselves to hours upon hours outside. Coming from wolves, this is why they have amazing coats, and they are strong, and they are survivors. And honestly, a lot of dogs don't want to come in. And here's a video of dogs that just don't give a shit and won't come in no matter what you do. Because I'm seeing all over Facebook, you're cruel if you leave your dog outside. You're horrible. You're torturing your pet. You blah, blah. Oh, God, give me a break. Here it is. This is great.
Hey, Rory. Some lady on the internet says you're cold. You should probably come inside. Okay, you just stay there.
It is bedtime. Let's go. Come on. Good girl. Aspen. Aspen, don't do it.
Anybody want to come inside? Anybody?
Push.
Go. Hey, more passion, more passion, more passion, more energy, more energy.
No! Give me the carrot! Give me the carrot!
Mimic, you are not a fucking husky. Get in the house.
Is that coat on your wiener? Oh, is that coat on baby wiener?
Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. We appreciate you. We can't do it without you. Without you, we don't make it happen. If you have not had a chance, hit a like, share, follow, subscribe. Go buy some cool stuff. The shop is open. By the way, I have to show you because I keep getting earfuls about this, and people are so mad at me. Olivia has been talking about her Sherpa coat and how she absolutely is going just apeshit over it and can't say enough about it. And I'm not kidding. She will not stop talking about it and how great it is. So because of that, I give you your very own Don't Unfriend Me Nation Sherpa blanket. Yes, it comes in black and dark gray. It is 100% Sherpa. I think it's 62 by 60. It is a massive blanket, and it is super warm and super comfortable, super soft, unbelievably soft on the outside, and the inside is about as warm as it gets. If you want your Sherpa blanket from Dumb Nation, you can go to thedumbshow.com and order it right now. We are shipping them. They are brand new. I cannot tell you how long they will be in stock. I don't know how long. It depends on you. And if you like them, go and get it. And if you don't. Or do. It's up to you. I'm trying to find this other picture. Hold tight. This is it. The Dumb Nation Sherpa blanket. So you can watch the show and cover yourself up in a beautiful blanket. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. We love you. We appreciate you. Do me a favor. Like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't, we'll see you tomorrow. It is going to be Thursday night. It'll be myself, and it'll be Leroy. Olivia will probably come on since she missed tonight, but maybe not. We don't know. But it should be Leroy and I as long as everything's okay. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm glad you guys liked the dog video. We're trying to make it a little bit more light here, have some fun, at least in some of these videos. Thank you for getting us at our goal yet again. We love you so much. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow. God bless and good night. Now.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.